Hey everybody, Christina Cola here. I've got something totally different for you this time. I'm actually going to do a little bit of a guitar instructional video. Isn't that cool? And the reason I'm going to do this is because recently I posted a video of me playing the Van Halen song Somebody Get Me a Doctor while seated in this very chair with this very guitar and this very amp. And that's cool. And in the comments section, somebody by the name of Metallica Fan 83 asked how to do that. Asked someone tell me how to do that sweet little trick. He said something like that. And I went to explain it in a reply comment, but I kind of ran out of text space because you see, when I go to explain something to somebody, whether it's a guitar technique or a bit of music theory or maybe some card magic technique or just how much of an asshole I think they are, whatever I'm explaining, I like to explain in very thorough detail and make sure they understand every last bit of it. I think it's more helpful that way. So rather than a few lines of text, I figured let me actually demonstrate this technique so you can really learn it and understand it. Now, first of all, the first thing I want to point out, though, is, yes, how you do that sweet little trick. And I want to point out that this is not a trick. I say quite often there are no tricks when you're playing guitar. Putting the guitar behind your head, playing like that, that's a trick. But as far as, you know, what you're playing, everything is a technique. It's a way to play. It's a way to create a certain sound. Doing a trick is something for shock value. It has no musical value. Playing the guitar behind your head has no musical value. It just looks cool. So, but this, when you do it, I mean, that may not be the most melodic musical thing you've ever heard, but it's not just there for shock value. It's a particular sound. So before I even explain the technique, I want you to make sure that you don't approach it as a trick. It's a technique. It's another way to make a sound, no different than picking versus tapping. It's a technique. So with that in mind, I'm going to explain what's happening here. And what's actually happening is, I don't know if there's an actual name for this technique, but I call it palm harmonics. What you're hearing there is a bunch of harmonics sounded with the side of my hand, and I'm going to explain how to do that. The first thing you want to make sure you have is a sound, a tone, that lends itself to harmonics. And in my case, I'm using this 5150 replica with I don't know what kind of pickup this is, but it's an incredibly heavy pickup. And I've got my Roland Microcube on the rectifier amp model, my gain all the way up, and I'm actually lined through my sound system here, but I always keep it like that. And so I've got a good tone that'll give me some good harmonics. Now, when you're starting to practice doing this, it's a better idea to do it on the bass strings. It's a little easier to sound the harmonics. In my case, I think I first started doing it, was it that? Yeah, it was that. The second fret on the A string. Now, all I'm doing here is hammering on and pulling off the second fret. And as I'm doing that, what I'm doing is I'm just taking the side of my hand, and you could use the side of your hand, or you could use your finger, or whatever you like. Steve Vai occasionally uses his tongue, but you don't have to do that. And you want to run it gently along the string as you hammer on and pull off. And you don't want to go too lightly, but you also don't want to be pressing down so heavy that you're muting. You don't want to do this. I'm getting a few harmonics there, but not as many as I could. Because what's happening is, by touching the string lightly, you're sounding harmonics as you do that. And that's all there is to it. Now, a little bit of history about this. The first guy that I ever saw do that was Joe Satriani in the song Hordes of Locusts. The first guy that I know to have used that is Eddie Van Halen. I honestly don't know if anyone's used it before him. If somebody else does, just let me know. Now, I want to explain the reason why this happens. If you have any experience playing guitar, you should know how harmonics work. You touch the string at certain points very gently, and when you play the string, you get a harmonic. Now, what causes that is the string, for example, at the 12th fret, which is the lowest harmonic and the easiest. What's happening is you're actually stopping the vibrational loop of the string at the point that you touch the string. So when I sound the 12th fret harmonic, the string is vibrating from here to here and from here to here. producing a tone an octave up, because it's divided in half. At the 5th fret, it's 2 octaves up because I'm actually dividing the string in quarters. I get a vibrational loop from here to here, from the open string to the 5th fret, from the 5th fret to the 12th fret, which is the same distance from here to here. It doesn't look like that, but it is. You can take a ruler and check. And then from the 12th fret to the 20th, if this guitar had 24 frets, it'd be the 24th fret, which is also the same distance from here to here and here to here, and then to the open string. And those are all the same distances. It's dividing the string equally in quarters, producing a tone 2 octaves up. And if you don't believe me about those distances, you can get out a ruler. It's just because of the frets, the way they're positioned going across here, it may look like it's a greater distance from here to about here, but it's not. And that's what a harmonic is. Now, in the case of touch harmonics, this technique is kind of a combination between tap harmonics and touch harmonics. And what's happening is, obviously, if you hammer on at a fret, you sound a note. And if you pull off to a fret or an open string, you sound the note. Now, if as you're doing that, you're touching a harmonic point, you're not going to sound just the note, you're going to sound the harmonic. So in the case of this, I'm on the D string and I'm at the 7th fret here, and if I just touch the 12th fret, when I hammer on the 7th fret, I get the harmonic. It's the same, it would be the same if I used to tap here or touch here. Now, this is the equivalent of a 5th fret harmonic on an open string. So the note I'm sounding is an A, 2 octaves above the fretted note. Now, at the same time, when I pull off to the open string, touching the same fret, I get a different note, because the relationship of where I'm touching a harmonic between the open string and the 7th fret is different, even though it's the same fret. So I'm getting a D, an octave up on the open string, just natural 12th fret harmonic, and this high A. So when I do it in rapid succession, I get that. And that's what's happening when you're doing this thing. Except this is random. You're not going for any particular notes, just whatever harmonics come out, that's what comes out. But you can do it in a more controlled way, like for this, for example. If I change the fret that I'm hammering on and pulling off at, I change one of those harmonics. And if I change the fret that I'm touching, I change both harmonics. So I can get, by using different fret combinations of hammering on and pulling off and where you're touching, you can get all sorts of different notes. And you can do it randomly, or you can do a more controlled kind of thing and do something like this. Kind of thing like that. That's something I've experimented a little bit with. I've been working a little bit more on lately. But you can try a very controlled kind of thing like that, and using different fret combinations to produce different sounds and come up with interesting melodies. Any way that you can sound a note and touch a harmonic at the same time will work for this. Now, there are a lot of famous guitar players that do it. I've seen Eddie Van Halen do it, like I said, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, of course, Reb Beach. I've seen George Lynch do it a little bit, and Zakk Wylde does it in an interesting way. I think he wears a ring that he also scrapes along the string as he does it, so he really gets some wild, obnoxious sounds. That's pretty cool. And also, something I've seen Joe Satriani do is, he likes to do this a lot. And you can just make some weird sounds like this, just, something to throw in there. But, and that's basically it. I'm rambling a bit here. But that's how the technique works. Like I said, the best way to practice it, you just gotta keep experimenting with it until you find that right touch where you're not muting and you're not doing it so lightly that you don't really get too many harmonics. And I've about hit the 10-minute limit here on YouTube, so I'm going to stop talking now. Practice. Hope this helps you out. If you've got any questions, just drop me a line. See you next time.